Greetings in the name of the Lord Yeshua Jesus Christ. I'm Andres for Apostate TV. Welcome to all viewers, including you, Jehovah's Witnesses, and governing body members, because we know you are watching our Apostate videos. Thank you for the viewing hits. I'm going to get right to it. Jehovah's Witnesses, folks, those that are watching, I woke up this morning and did my daily routine. As I was brushing my teeth. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth. I realized I was in a cult. 35 years ago, I was in a cult. I did not know until this morning, and I said to myself, holy cow, Batman, I was in a cult 35 years ago. Let me explain. I'm going to explain like the governing body member explained, how he explained the overlapping generation. He did such a good job explaining the overlapping generation, because many Jehovah's Witnesses left the organization because of that broadcast. So good job, explain. Good job. So let me explain why I believe I was in a cult. Okay? I was involved with an organization. This organization had their headquarters, in their headquarters, they had board of directors. In other words, a governing body. This organization's board of directors wrote policies. They wrote rules and regulations on how you're supposed to act, within the organization. So this organization also had franchises, different franchises everywhere, everywhere in the United States, including very heavily in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Very huge. And they were like McDonald's. They all taught the same thing. If you buy a Big Mac in the Bronx, it's going to taste the same in Sacramento, California, or Los Angeles, California, anywhere, because the organization teaches the same thing, same ingredients, the same method of cooking the food. It was the same thing. This headquarters was located in Brooklyn, New York. That should tell you something. The organization's headquarters relocated to New Jersey. New Jersey Edison, I believe, is where they relocated. The name of this organization was...
It's a Crazy Eddie blowout blitz! Crazy Eddie's not playing with a full deck because he's practically giving away TVs, VCRs, microwave ovens, stereo rack systems, video camcorders, anything and everything in home entertainment, and lots of home appliances too. Remember, we are not undersold, we will not be undersold, we cannot be undersold, and we mean it. It's a Crazy Eddie blowout blitz, and Crazy Eddie's going nuts with his lowest sale prices ever. See Crazy Eddie now, his blowout blitz sale prices are... insane!
Crazy Eddie's, his prices are insane. Yup. Crazy Eddie's, the electronic department store. Y'all remember Crazy Eddie's, right? Remember that department store? I used to be a part-time electronic salesperson for this cult, Crazy Eddie's. That was a serious cult, man. It was very serious. I sold VCRs, TVs, laser discs, camcorders, a whole bunch of electronics, even computers, IBM computers. Remember the Tandy 1000 or Tandy, I think it was Tandy. Commodore 64. I sold all that stuff. I was a salesperson. This organization was a cult. This was a cult. The only difference between Crazy Eddie's and Jehovah's Witnesses, I got paid for my work. Jehovah's Witnesses, when they do the preaching work, they work on a volunteer basis. selling their cultic books, and they don't get paid. They go door to door. So that was the only difference, that I got paid for my work. However, there are striking similarities between the Watchtower of Jehovah's Witnesses and Crazy Eddie's. Now, why do I say Crazy Eddie's was a cult? Well, allow me to compare Crazy Eddie's and Jehovah's Witnesses, and you tell me this is not a cult or not. You tell me if Crazy Eddie's was not a cult. I have a list of things that I experienced at Crazy Eddie's. And by the way, this was like 35 years ago, okay, when I used to work for Crazy Eddie's. I made a list of comparison lists. Okay, so let's begin. Let's check out this list. Okay, every day I would come in. I would take this card. There were many cards on the wall. There was many cards on the wall. The card had the names of the employee, and every employee would insert this card in a clock that was underneath the cards. The clock was underneath all the cards. So you would take this card, and all the employees would take the card, and then they were inserted into the clock. The clock would stamp the time the employee started and the time the employee went home, quitting time. So you do it when you come in to start work, and you insert the card again when you quitting time. It was called a time card. It was a time card. You see, I was in a cult. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. Gosh darn it, they were a cult. Okay, you Jehovah's Witnesses, you fill out a time card. I inserted my time card. We were more advanced than the Watchtower. Okay, they fill out their time card. I insert it. Same thing. Mine was automatic though. All right. Okay, you're not convinced? Okay, that doesn't convince you? Okay, I have more examples. Bear with me. Okay, every time I sold a VCR or any electronics, I had to write by hand a receipt. This was a receipt. The receipt included, the model number of the unit that I sold, the customer's information, name, address. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses have the same thing. When they sell one of their books, they write down the item on the receipt, right? They also write the money that was tendered to them. You see, I was in a cult. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. Now, I know what you Jehovah's Witnesses are going to say. I know what you're going to say. And I'm going to admit that they will say, we don't sell our books. Everything is done through donations. You know what? I'm going to admit that too. I'm going to claim that I was also accepting donations at Crazy Eddie's. People gave me money. It wasn't mine. The money wasn't mine. I had to give the money to Crazy Eddie's. Okay? The cashier, they process the money or the credit card. I gave the VCR or television, whatever the product was, in exchange for money. It was in exchange for money. Jehovah's Witnesses do the same thing. They receive money, and in exchange, they give the product to the customer, their books. You see? Same thing. I was in a cult. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. You're still not convinced? It doesn't convince you? Gosh darn it. Okay, I got more examples. I got more. Every week, we will have meetings. Bear with me. In these meetings, we discuss new sales, that are coming up, new policies, if there are new policies and regulations, changes in policy. In other words, new light. We will get new light. Okay? By the way, you may want to check out the video that I produced called "The Light is Getting Brighter" for Jehovah's Witnesses, or is it getting darker? Take a look at that video. But you see, it's the same thing. All right, we have meetings too. Oh boy, I know you're not convinced. No, you weren't in the cult, Andres. Stop it. That Crazy 80s was not a cult. Stop right now. I got more examples. Okay, you're gonna go down swinging, huh? You're gonna go down swinging. Okay, fine. I got another example. I had bosses at Crazy Eddie's. In other words, managers, supervisors. I had these bosses. They're always freaking telling me how to act with customers, how to present myself, appropriate attire. They kept telling me your shoes are not shiny, and your pants are too tight. You need to shave. You look squint. You got to shave. You got a 6 o'clock shadow. You got a 4 o'clock shadow. You need to shave. They're constantly telling me what to do, and if I don't listen to them, I'll get fired. In other words, disfellowshipped. You see, I was in a cult. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. We're a cult. Gosh, don't it? You go through that too, Jehovah's Witnesses. You're still not convinced? Do I have to give you more example? Okay. I got a million of them. I'm just gonna give you some. Okay. Crazy Eddie's was closed on certain holidays. One particular holiday we didn't observe was Christmas. We didn't observe Christmas. We closed the store down. That's a pagan holiday. We were never open for Christmas. Christmas Eve, we were open, but December 25th, we were closed. We decorated the stores with Christmas ornaments, those little bulbs, what do you call those, tinsels and all kinds of stuff, pagan stuff. We decorated the store with pagan decorations. The store was closed on December 25th because it was a pagan holiday. Now, decorating the place to make it look good, it was just a festive thing. We got to make the store look festive. So you see, Jehovah's Witnesses, we didn't celebrate Christmas at Crazy Eddie's. You don't celebrate Christmas. I was in a cult. That was cultic, man. I was in a cult. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. Still not convinced? You're still not convinced? Okay. Here's another one. Pay close attention. One day in the late 80s, I saw something terrible in the news. Crazy Eddie's was being investigated for stock fraud, embezzlement, and a whole bunch of other financial fraud. Anyway, the employees were talking among themselves, saying, what's going to happen to the organization? Is Crazy Eddie's going down? This doesn't look good. I couldn't believe that this was happening. I could not believe. I said to those co-workers, members of the organization, you can call them members, that either co-workers or members. They're members of the organization. I said to those members, those are apostate lies. That's apostates. Those freaking apostates are trying to hurt us. Stop watching apostate news. The organization would never betray the workers like that. Those are apostate lies, and stop watching apostate news, all right? One day, I began to notice something strange was happening. Customers were disappearing. My co-workers were disappearing. People were disappearing. More money was going out than it was coming in. And I said and I screamed, what's happening? What's going on? Okay? Something's going on here. What's going on? It was like a kingdom hall getting emptier and emptier. I started to wake up. I woke up. I woke up and I said, you know what? Not only that, my pockets were getting empty, my commissions were disappearing. So I decided to disassociate myself from this crazy cult. And I ended up joining another cult. That cult wasn't that bad. The new cult that I joined, it was called Nobody Beats the Wiz. I apostatized. I became an apostate. I, I joined the enemy, the apostate. Nobody beats the Wiz. Now, after about 1 week of training, Nobody Beats the Wiz, I decided to visit Crazy Eddie's because in the news they mentioned that they're filing for bankruptcy. So I wanted to see who of my former co-workers were left. You know, I was away for about a week because I was in training. So let me go visit Crazy Eddie's. You know what my former co-workers did when I visited them? They ignored me. They just said, yeah, what's up? And that's it. You know, they were shunning me. You see, I was in a cult. Crazy Eddie's was a cult. It was a cult. Now, if you believe or think I'm insane for believing that Crazy Eddie's was a cult, and I was in a cult, comment in the box. Write down, Andres, you're a nut. You're insane. Crazy Eddie's is not a cult. You can't compare these two, Jehovah's Witnesses and Crazy Eddie's. That's incompatible, man. You're a nut. I think Crazy Eddie should be investigated. Oh, wait. They no longer exist. They're gone. Here's something else that's interesting. Some of my friends didn't qualify for a severance pay. And they worked at Crazy Eddie's for, a number amount of years. Some of the employees were like cashiers, sales people. They got nothing when the place closed down. When Crazy Eddie shut down, they got nothing, no severance pay. It's sort of like the Bethel. Remember the Bethel layoffs? Those workers didn't get a bus ticket, to get back home, which was horrible. Such a loving organization, huh? Jehovah's Witnesses are. That watchtower is so loving, huh? $1 billion industry, $1 billion company couldn't even spare a bus ticket for their hard working and dedicated workers at Bethel. The organization, God, you know what organization, you know what they worship, what their God is, this organization? Money. That's what they worship, money. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy this parody, this comedy here. Remember, folks, shunning kills. Jesus saves. Peace, God bless, and the Lord be with you and keep you always.